Let me ask you something. When was the last time that your property was inspected? Not by your letting agent, not by a routine visit, but by someone who actually knows what Category 1 and Category 2 hazards look like. If you cannot answer that question, this video is for you. Since 27 December 25, local authorities have a legal duty to investigate property for HHSRS hazards, Category 1 and Category 2 hazards. They have the powers, they have the funding, and they are using both. But here is what most landlords do not understand. An incident does not have to take place for them to fine you. A tenant does not have to be injured. They can investigate proactively. They can walk into your property or your letting agent's office and start building a case. And if they find Category 1 or Category 2 hazards, the fines are issued directly. No court is required. They are civil penalties. Category 1 hazards up to £40,000 per offence, including imprisonment in some cases. Category 2 hazards described as initial or minor up to £7,000 per offence, and they are discretionary, which means it is entirely up to the officer's judgment. Now think about this a second, right? The councils are at the moment cash strapped, they're under financial difficulty, right? So these enforcement officers are trained, and when you go into the government's website, it says to retain revenue. Right, so they're looking at as this is a way to retain revenue. I'm not saying this, it's on the government's website, right? And different local authorities will be, will be taking this approach more differently, some more aggressively than others, and each different officer can maybe a lot more aggressive, right, than others as well. So, and here's a part that is catching landlords completely off guard. Your tenant can apply for a rent repayment order of up to 24 months as well, even after they've left the property. So if your property was not free of hazards during that period, they can claim up to 24 months of rent. That could be tens of thousands of pounds coming back out of your pocket. So what is the solution? A professional Category 1 and Category 2 HHSRS Risk Assessment survey carried out by us, using the same framework that enforcement officers use. Right, so we're trained up in exactly the same way, looking for, and so we know what they're looking out for, looking for exactly what they're looking for. Right now, you might be thinking, why do I need someone else to do this? Why can't I just check the property myself? Because Category 1 hazards, over time, you may start to recognize them, and they're the more obvious ones. But Category 2 hazards are the ones that you will not see. A piece of liner coming away at the edge of the bath, allowing water to seep through. Brickwork starting to crumble, leading to damp. Guttering that has never been cleared. Not enough lighting on the staircase. A trip hazard outside. These are things that an enforcement officer is trained to find, and they will find them. Right. Plus, the other thing is, right, different enforcement officers in different local authorities, right, they treat things differently. So you're not a housing inspector, right? You've not done the same training as them. Neither are you a building surveyor, right? So therefore, the way they do look at things are completely different. So we understand, right? We understand. So these are done from the lens of a housing enforcement officer. Here is what an independent survey report from us does for you. Right? If something is found after we have carried out a survey, we can demonstrate that at the time of that assessment the hazard was not present, or based on what we saw, right, let's say pictures, etc., right, so that it occurred afterwards. That changes everything. It is far more likely to result in an improvement notice rather than an immediate fine. It shows that you took it seriously. It shows that you were proactive. And if you were thinking about evicting a tenant, this survey needs to happen before you can serve any notice, because if the hazards are found after notice has been served, it becomes very difficult to defend, and it becomes unlawful eviction, which is illegal. Right? And so this is where it can be used against you. So we strongly recommend that this survey is carried out at the start of every tenancy and the end of every tenancy. Clean records going in, clean records coming out. This is how you protect yourself against fines and penalties and the area that we're in. And if you're on if you are on our free placement scheme, this survey is included part of the service at no extra cost to you. Book your risk assessment below. Or if you want to find out more, book a free 30-minute consultation and we will walk you through and talk you through everything. And at the very least, make sure you sign up for our free membership so we can keep you updated on enforcement activity and bring you the latest enforcement news that is happening in your area. Right? So don't wait for them to find you, act first. If you found this video helpful, please don't stop here. This short video only scratches the surface. I strongly recommend that you now watch our full presentation, which stands and sits alongside this video. And it's about landlords and letting agents, 50 things you need to know, how to protect yourself against £40,000 fines, 24-month rent repayment orders of up to £70,000 plus, disrepair claims, and the biggest compliance risk facing the private rented sector in your homes that you didn't know existed. Yes, it is longer than this video, but it could be the most valuable 20 minutes you will invest in protecting your properties, your business, and your income. This is not small change, right? So in my professional opinion, it is the biggest change to the private rental sector that I have seen in my lifetime. In that presentation, I'll explain where your biggest risks really are, why those risks are inside your properties, not outside them, why certificates alone do not prove a property safe, why Category 1 and Category 2 hazards matter, why an incident does not have to happen before enforcement of fines and action begin, why landlords and agents are both under greater scrutiny and being able to be fined, how tenants are being educated and coached by no-win, no-fee solicitors and claims organizations, and most importantly, what practical action you should take. So step 1, book your free 30-minute consultation. Don't wait to watch the video presentation before you book your free 30-minute consultation, as we are getting inundated with bookings and we are limiting the number of people per consultation. Landlords and agents consultation are separate, but landlords and agents are booked together in small limited groups, as most have the same questions, and you can email personal questions that will be answered simultaneously, which you didn't submit during the time of booking. By watching the presentation, I'm almost certain that you will have many questions which you didn't submit during the time of booking, so you can email them to us after. So I do recommend, right, that you do watch the video presentation, right, before the actual consultation, right, but don't wait to watching it, but before booking. Please don't leave booking until the last minute, as we don't want to disappoint you. Step number 2, become a free Angel Moves member. Membership is completely free and it gives you access to far more general legislative updates. Most organizations simply tell you what changed in the law, which is national. Yes, your head office, legal team, and AI can tell you that, but this is what we can do and what most others can't. We make it our business to know the enforcement policies your local authority are prioritizing and local policies which are not national news. All local authorities have a duty to enforce compliance laws and practices, but how aggressively they do it and which new policies the actual local authority brings in your area, your lawyer, head office, and AI can't tell you. We can bring this to you before it happens, as we keep our ears close to the ground and are informed by the local authority relationships we have built over the years, placing tenants from emergency temporary accommodation into private sector homes. So we had a vested interest to protect our existing landlords and agents in our network, which are part of our network, and we bring the same service to you. Our aim is to help you understand what those changes mean in practice. So through our work with local authorities, housing professionals, landlords, letting agents, and others across the private rental sector, we continue to build our understanding of how the sector is changing and where the practical risks are actually emerging. That means our members receive practical information designed to help them stay ahead of problems, not simply react after they occur. As a member, you'll receive updates, guidance, educational resources, invitations to webinars, practical compliance information, and news about services and support available through Angel Moves. As our relationships and work across the sector continue to grow, our aim is to bring members even more practical insight and support to help them navigate an increasingly complex private rental sector. Free membership is only the beginning. For landlords and agents who want a greater level of protection and support, our paid memberships start from just £15 per month. Depending on the membership level you choose, you can gain access to additional training at very discounted services, special support, compliance resources, our bespoke systems, and a range of members-only benefits designed to help protect your properties, your business, and your income. Considering the potential financial consequences of enforcement, legal disputes, rent repayment orders, or disrepair claims, many landlords and agents see our membership as a small investment in protecting themselves against far larger risks. And plus, don't forget, these are tax-deductible expenses. So whether you choose our free membership or our paid membership options, our objective is the same: to help you identify risk early, understand your responsibilities more clearly, and put practical systems in place before small problems become expensive ones. So don't wait until you're facing an investigation or complaint or a legal claim. Join Angel Moves today and stay connected to the information, guidance, and support that could make a real difference to tomorrow. Step number 3, book your Category 1 and Category Risk Assessments. If you haven't done so already, I strongly recommend booking your Category 1 and Category 2 Risk Hazard Assessment. Remember, your biggest risk is usually not outside your property, it is already inside it. The earlier hazards are identified, the easier and usually cheaper they are to deal with. Prevention is always better than trying to defend an enforcement investigation or a legal claim later. Step number 4, book your landlord or agent training. If you're serious about protecting yourself, your business, your property, book onto one of our landlord or letting agent training programs. Many landlords and agents are still reliant on knowledge that worked several years ago. Right, that sector has changed. Tenants are becoming better informed. Enforcement expectations are changing. The cost of getting it wrong can be significant. Our member prices are currently available and places are limited. If you prefer individual one-to-one training rather than group training, speak to us during your consultation and we'll discuss the options available to you. Finally, please take the time to explore the rest of our Angel Moves website. There are videos, guidance, and resources throughout the site that help design to help you understand the bigger picture. This isn't simply about passing a compliance checklist. It is about protecting your properties, your business, and your future. The people who act are usually the ones who have the most options. The people who wait until enforcement begins usually have the fewest. So don't delay. Watch the full 50 things you need to know. Watch the full 50 things you need to know presentation. Book your free 30-minute consultation. Become a free Angel Moves member. Book your Category 1, Category 2 Risk Hazard Assessment. And if you haven't already, secure a place on Landlord and Letting Agent Training Program while the current member prices are available at dirty cheap prices. We look forward to speaking to you soon. The risk isn't always a new law. Often it's the existing law nobody ever properly checked inside your own properties.